would you like to be able to reverse your type 2 diabetes? Dr. Raj Gupta will tell us how. Now, he's a national wellness expert. And I'm so looking forward to hear, first of all, what is type 2 diabetes and how can we reverse it?
Heal Podcast with Lily Patrascu shares longevity and anti-aging techniques to stay young forever, increase energy, overcome addiction, and live your longest, best life ever. Shared by world's most innovative, alternative, and traditional health thought leaders, healers, and doctors. Discover quantum healing strategies to heal your mind, body, and soul.
All right. Well, cool. First and foremost, thanks so much for having me on the podcast. I'm honored. I'm very much looking forward to our conversation. What is type 2 diabetes? Well, there are a number of different types of diabetes. There's type 1, type 2, which most everybody has heard of. Type 1 is used to be called juvenile diabetes. That's a problem with someone's pancreas, and it is irreversible. Type 2, and typically you find out about that at a very young age, which is why it used to be called juvenile diabetes. Type 2 diabetes is based on insulin resistance. And you create insulin resistance as a result of bad fuel or bad aspects of your lifestyle that try to get into your mitochondria, which is the powerhouse cell of the body that produces energy for a human being. But the mitochondria doesn't like some aspects of our lifestyle, and it will not take those cells into its gas tank to make fuel for us. And then what it does, it creates walls of resistance to allowing those bad aspects of our lifestyle in. And that's called insulin resistance because insulin is a key that opens up the gas tank of the mitochondria. So the mitochondria simply changes the lock. It doesn't want those bad aspects. So when that's the case and insulin can't open up the gas tank to let the aspects or fuel into our mitochondria, the blood sugar ends up just hanging out in our blood, and that creates high blood sugar and then gives us a diagnosis of type 2 diabetes. So that is type 2 diabetes, but there's also a type 3 diabetes, believe it or not. And that is what the medical community is referring to as cognitive decline or Alzheimer's, AKA sugar brain. In fact, 56% of type 2 diabetics will develop type 3 diabetes, which is Alzheimer's.
Wow, that is brand information for me that I didn't realize. So tell us, are there people who are insulin resistant but not yet developed type 2 diabetes?
That's a great question.
And if yes, what can people do to stop it so that they don't end up in any of the symptoms that could occur from that kind of condition?
Sure. Yeah. The complications of type 2 diabetes, less than 5% of people do not suffer these complications. And these complications are pretty serious. Type 2 diabetes is the number one reason for kidney disease or kidney replacement. It's the number one reason for blindness and amputation. 67% of type 2 diabetics, as per the American Diabetes Association, will die of a heart attack and stroke. It's bad news. So great question. How do you find, first of all, yes, you do get insulin resistance before you get the diagnosis of type 2 diabetes. And that will cause you to gain weight. Insulin resistance causes you to gain weight. You don't gain weight and then get insulin resistance, which is also a myth. Most people think that, oh, well, I got diabetes because I gained weight. No, you got insulin resistance that caused you to gain weight, and then you got type 2 diabetes. Pre-diabetes pre-diabetes, you'll like this, Lily. I liken it to being like a little bit pregnant. You can't be a little bit pregnant. You are either pregnant or you are not. And you either have blood sugar instability or you do not. So there's no such thing as pre-diabetes. The reason for the classification is to tell physicians when to begin to medicate that patient, because they don't medicate a pre-diabetic. And the reason is because the side effects of the medication would be worse than the symptoms of a pre-diabetic. So what do you do? You keep a close eye on your blood sugar. If your blood sugar begins to rise, that is indication that you have insulin resistance. Then you have to look for the aspects of your lifestyle that are causing the insulin resistance, which, yes, diet and lack of exercise are aspects of our lifestyle, but there's so many other aspects to our lifestyle that are simply not being addressed, like hormone irregularity, underlying infections, low vitamin D, thyroid problems, toxins, there's a ton of different aspects of our lifestyle causing the insulin resistance, causing the high blood sugar, and causing the diagnosis of type 2 diabetes.
Thank you. What symptoms do insulin-resistant people have?
Great question. Yeah, so weight gain is definitely one of them. Decreased energy. So the mitochondria is responsible for energy production, but when it doesn't like the fuel, it puts up walls of insulin resistance and turns down the volume knob on energy production. So you have someone who is just dragging butt. They have zero energy all day long. They might have problems sleeping. They may have inexplicable rage or brain fog. These are all symptoms of insulin resistance.
Thank you. Tell us, what should we know about reversing your type 2 diabetes?
Well, first and foremost, you have to know it's possible. This has been documented worldwide for more than 20 years. And most people still do not know that it can be done. Most recently, a study from a medical school that most people will recognize, UCLA Medical School, as recently as November of 2023, did a research study and indeed said that diabetes is reversible with lifestyle changes.
Thank you. For people that haven't reached yet type 2 diabetes and they are insulin resistant, what can they do to reverse being insulin resistant?
Yes. So you have to identify the reason that's causing you to have insulin resistance. So what does that mean? You have to do testing, deep dive tests, blood tests, but looking for markers that other doctors simply are not calling for, that will give you the whole narrative, not just the table of contents of someone's health. That testing, not just blood, but stool tests, hormone irregularity tests, toxicity tests. This gives us the whole picture of what is going on below the surface, causing you to have insulin resistance to begin with. Without doing these tests, Lily, it's like taking your car to the mechanic, and they don't do any diagnostics. They simply put a piece of tape over the check engine light, give you a slap on the butt and tell you that you're good to go. But no, that car is going to break down. So we can't just take the easy way out, the pill for an ill society, and cover up these symptoms. It's like if your fire alarm was going off in your house and you took a broomstick to it, yes, you stopped the fire alarm, but you may have a fire in your home. These symptoms are there to tell you you've got a serious problem. We don't want to just squelch them. We want to get to the root of the problem. You need to treat the root cause, not the fruit of the symptoms it develops.
Thank you. So give us some examples of what could cause this. For example, imagine I drink 10 cups of coffee a day with 1 sugar in each. And then I have, let's say, raspberries, strawberries, bananas, a lot of fruit that is high in sugar. And then I have cake and a lot of acidic foods. Does that mean that over time, having this kind of relatively toxic, acidic diet, will that gradually lead me to becoming insulin resistant?
It will, more than likely, but I will tell you this, it's much more than just sugar. I know we've all been led to believe that sugar is the biggest culprit, but food does not cause diabetes. Here, I know that sound. It has been so ingrained in us that it is food, 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 food. But let me ask you this, or put it to you this way. If it were food that caused type 2 diabetes, then everybody that ate that food would also get type 2 diabetes. I speak to patients every day whose spouses share every meal with them, and they don't have type 2 diabetes, but they do. So it cannot be food. Now, food plays a part. It's definitely an aspect of our lifestyle, but it's really just gas on the underlying fire. So you cannot reverse your diabetes with just food alone. You have to find out what the other culprits are. Like I'm saying, whether it's toxins, you got to get them out of your body. Whether it's hormone irregularity, you got to balance your hormones. Whether it's a GI tract problem, you got to fix your microbiome. If it's a vitamin deficiency, you need to get your vitamins and minerals in order. No matter what the problem is, there's a solution, but it is impossible to fix unless you find out first what the problem is.
Thank you. Let's take each one of these possible causes and how you would potentially fight it, preventively.
Okay, cool, yeah. Let's start with the gut. GI tract problems are more than 70% of our immune system cells live and stem from our GI tract. And Hippocrates, all doctors take that Hippocratic oath, who was the father of modern medicine. He did 3 tests and believed that all disease came from the gut. Now, we know that that's not true, but he wasn't far off, and we do not do stool tests any longer. It's not common. Sure, there are stool tests for colon cancer, but no one is assessing your digestion. Now, if your microbiome is messed up, many of your neuroreceptors that allow you to rest and digest are made in the gut. So what you end up seeing is like dopamine and serotonin and GABA are all rest and digest neurotransmitters made in your belly. And if they're not being made because your belly is not working properly, that's when you get inexplicable angst, worry, depression, sleep loss. And then you end up taking medications to put you to sleep and medications to help you with depression when really it's a problem with your gut. So what do? You do a stool test. And we take a look at your poop, and we figure out what is going on. Is there a breakdown in digestion? And if so, what is the breakdown? You know what we find, Lily, that is very shocking to many of my patients are parasites, which are super common. But the only way you can find a parasite is if you do a stool test. A parasite would be an underlying infection that causes blood sugar instability, insulin resistance, and type 2 diabetes. Now, let me ask you this. Let's say, and I'm sorry, I get crazy passionate about this if you couldn't tell, but let's say we found a parasite, God forbid, in Lily. And Lily, it was causing her to have type 2 diabetes. And let's say you went to the doctor, they didn't find it, they didn't do the detective work, but instead gave you insulin to push down your blood sugar and your A1C. How on earth is that going to help the problem? The problem is a parasite that's causing the high blood sugar, not the high blood sugar. So that's the problem with modern medicine. What we need to do is treat the root and not the fruit. So for other examples like hormone irregularity, first we have to identify it. And then there are tests to find out where the breakdown in the synthesis of hormones or enzymes is taking place. And then you fix that problem with supplements, with stress reduction for hormone irregularity. For toxins, you gotta pull those toxins out of your body. What we see is that sometimes people have difficulty because the liver has 3 different detox pathways. And sometimes, like for me, I did genetic testing to show, you and I were speaking beforehand, and I said I was so blessed to have good genes, but here are 2 genes that are not good. I have 2 aspects of my 3 liver detox pathways that genetically are not working, which means my liver is going to be stressed. So if I have a lot of toxins, my liver is a detox organ. It's going to be working hard, which would create fatty liver disease. So again, you don't want to, there's really no medication that doctors can give you for fatty liver disease. They just keep an eye on it to make sure it doesn't get worse. And if it does, they give you a liver transplant. That's not the answer. The answer is to decrease the stress on that liver by decreasing its workload, by eliminating those toxins. And I can go on, but I could do this all day. There are so many different reasons why people have insulin resistance, and you treat them all differently. But the key is to identify what the problem is. So real quick, I had a couple, and I speak about this couple often because it drives the point home. A husband and wife both had type 2 diabetes. They were both taking the same medication, both with the same crummy results. And their physician said that if things don't get better by the next time he sees them, that he was going to have to give them both insulin. So they fortunately saw me speak on stage someplace. They came into my office. We did the detective work. We found out that he had a parasite, like I was mentioning. Now, most people, Lily, have a number of different problems. But they usually have one main problem. For him, it was a parasite. For her, it was hormone irregularity. We had to treat them totally different because they had two different root causes to achieve the same goal. We removed his parasite. We balanced her hormones, and slowly they reduced and then eliminated the medication and then eliminated the diagnosis of type 2 diabetes. You got to treat the root and not the fruit.
Wow, that is so fascinating. Give us some examples of toxins that could impact the liver that could then lead to a type 2 diabetes diagnosis.
What a great question. Not a lot of people ask me about the different toxins, but great question. Yes, there are the biggest one that people, there's parabens, there are PBAs, there is plastics, there's polyurethanes. These are environmental, industrial toxins that we see on a regular basis that just come from living life. But the one that gets missed most often and doesn't really even get thought about is mold. Mold is a biotoxin. Mold lives, a biotoxin lives in another living organism the way mold lives in our lungs and proliferates there, continues to grow. Now, everybody thinks that you get mold from water damaged buildings, which is true, but they don't realize that you also get mold smuggled into your body from the foods that we eat. Oh my goodness, you can eat moldy food. Yes, so foods that are stored in barrels, in bins, in silos, like beans, rice and wheat and barley, grains in general, nuts, fruits, they have the propensity of getting rained on or getting wet and then in the barrel, bin, or silo, and then becoming moldy. And then we eat these foods and we smuggle the mold into our body.
Thank you. Does it help to drink apple cider vinegar in order to reduce the mold, or what can be done to reduce the mold in our body so that we can reverse type 2 diabetes before it happens?
You're a smart lady. So the apple cider vinegar, I highly recommend that. And I recommend a teaspoon 30 minutes before you eat each meal. That will help regulate your blood sugar. Now, that won't address toxins per se. It's going to help you to be able to control your blood sugar when you eat food, which is inflammatory. Food, while you can't reverse your diabetes with food alone, it is like water on the bad seeds. So the first thing you would need to do if you're growing the fruit of diabetes is stop watering the tree, stop watering those seeds. So food definitely plays a part, but it doesn't cause diabetes. It doesn't reverse diabetes. It just takes the gas off of the fire. Did I answer your question? I'm sorry.
Yes, I was wondering whether apple cider vinegar could be used in order to reduce mold, or do we have to drink or take any other supplement that would reduce or completely remove the mold from our body? And imagine, for example, for me, I was living for a while in a property that had some mold. And then I was eating regularly. I was eating moldy cheese regularly because I like it. So does that?
I think many people, that's the hardest thing that people have to give up is cheese. Many of us are mice. We love cheese, but I will tell you, it takes 12 pounds of milk to make 1 pound of cheese. So how do you get rid of mold? You can't eat it or drink it out of your body, meaning apple cider vinegar is great, but it's not going to remove the mold that you have in your body. The best way to eliminate toxins from your body. Now, you naturally eliminate toxins, but many of us have difficulty with some toxins genetically. We cannot eliminate them, so they get stuck in our body. The only way to get those toxins out is to do a detox and take specific supplements based on the toxins found to help pull them out of your body. We pull them out of people's body by using supplements that act like magnets to these toxins, attached to them, and then you excrete them and pull them out.
Thank you. So mold is included in these types of toxins that you would do supplements for, yeah?
Yes, absolutely. Mold is so prevalent, Lily. I can't even tell you. I would say, just as an estimation, more than 80% of the patients I see and test have mold in their body.
That is fascinating. Tell us where entrepreneurs can find you.
They can go. The best place to find me is in my Facebook group page. It's free to join, and it is a very strong community of more than 20,000 people who it's just they're like family. I can't stop smiling. The people in this group care about one another. They care about you, and they take others by the hand. And you know what? The best compliment I have gotten from my group is from one of my first patients that I began treating 29 years ago. About 10 years ago, I reversed her diabetes. Her doctor was doing backflips. It was amazing. She got off all of her medication, but Lily, she fell off the wagon. And then I began this group about a year and a half ago, and she joined the group and she got back on the wagon. She reversed her diabetes again and has proclaimed that she will never fall off the wagon again. And it is specifically because of this group. She said on tough days to have a community that she can log into, it helps her. It helps her from jumping off of a cliff some days. And I'm very, very proud of not only the group, but the people in it. It's all about love. You know, I was fortunate enough to be on an NBC show documenting the journey of reversing a patient's type 2 diabetes. And this was before I had the group. And I was just speaking to the producers of that show last week. And they had checked out my Facebook group prior to reconnecting with me. And the biggest compliment that I could get is what he told me. He says, with a smile, he said, there's so much love coming out of that group that it was palpable. And I'm like, thank you. And those are my peeps. So it takes a community. It takes a village.
Thank you. Tell us, what are your 10 commandments for someone who doesn't want to get type 2 diabetes at all and prevent it?
That's a great one. So first, let me tell people my group name and Facebook. I forgot to say it. I'm so proud of it. I didn't even mention it. It's called Real Health Roots. Real Health Roots. So you go to Facebook, you go to groups, and you just do a search for Real Health Roots. You'll see this guy's smiling as I usually am. That's the group. And you just join. But the 10 commandments on how to reverse type 2 diabetes, I actually give a roadmap on how to do this. Number one, I don't know if it's 10, but I can give you 7. Here we go. Number one is you have to have constant pursuit of your goals. I was just speaking with someone else about this. This is a light switch. not a light switch, but a life switch must go off. You must get to the point where you are so sick and tired of being sick and tired that you need to try something other than what conventional, traditional care has brought your way. Typically, patients trust their doctors like clergy, and they get the diagnosis. They're like, okay, my doctor says take this medication, and they are wrongfully convinced that they will get better from that medication. It's not till they realize that, oh my goodness, what kind of path am I going on? Medication after medication and getting worse, that they find this constant pursuit of their goals. So number one is constant pursuit of your goals. Number two is you have to do the testing, comprehensive testing, not the blood work your doctors are looking for. They're looking for markers that simply are diseased markers. They're not doing the deep dive detective work to give the narrative of your health. They're just looking at the table of contents. So testing, that would be number two of the commandments. Number three, when you do diagnostic comprehensive testing, you get a comprehensive diagnosis. Like I was saying, you need to know the reason why you have high blood sugar. Is it a parasite or is it hormone irregularity? That gives you that comprehensive diagnosis, which then gives customized treatment. That is number four, customized treatment. And then number five is you need to change your mindset. You need to get your mindset right. You need to, when you decide to stop eating some foods, you have to think of it as your choice to choosing health and wellness rather than punishment. If you feel like it's punishment, you're not going to succeed. You're not going to succeed. And then number six is more comprehensive testing. You get to a certain point and then you retest and you peel back the layers of the onion and you see what's left. And that leads to more comprehensive diagnosis, which leads to more customized care. So I think that's 8. But you got to go in a very specific order. This is the roadmap to putting people in the driver's seat of their own health and wellness.
Thank you. Tell us, what kind of habits should an entrepreneur have in order to prevent or reverse type 2 diabetes that over the longer term would help them to stay healthy?
So are you asking an entrepreneur who's going to help others reverse their diabetes or their own?
Their own.
Okay, yeah. 3 Ps: passion, purpose, and perseverance. You need to stay the course. It doesn't happen overnight. I will tell you this, though. You are able to reverse diabetes in a couple of weeks to months. Even though you have been suffering maybe for 20 or 30 years, once you are able to dial in what the problem is, the real problem, the real cause, and go after the root cause, the transformation is rather quick. We see it. The woman that I went on to NBC with, she lost in 5 months. Her A1C went down from 12.9 to 5.4. She eliminated all of her medications. She lost 58 pounds and reversed her diabetes, reversed her neuropathy. Amazing story. And you know what? Most people wouldn't even believe that if it weren't documented on NBC. It's just people don't understand that it is possible. It's possible. You want to take control of your health and wellness, and you want to be an entrepreneur of your own health and wellness, you have to get into the driver's seat, and you have to do more than what is currently being done.
Thank you. For women suffering from menopause or perimenopause, should they be taking this kind of test to prevent having diabetes because of hormonal disruption in that kind of time frame of their life?
Lily, man, I wish that this would take place earlier in life. This is a button for me. My mother has 3 sisters. My father has 4. I've got no uncles. I've got a sister. I've got 3 daughters. I've got women everywhere. And I will tell you, this is another faux pas, and hormone irregularity affects men too. It's just more obvious in women due to their cycles. And an irregular cycle is the first sign. A woman's cycle should be as regular as the day is long. It should be like, okay, today's the 24th. It's noon. There it is. There shouldn't be any kind of PMS, cramping, mood swings, bloating, loss of sleep, lack of energy. These are all symptoms of hormone irregularity. Cravings for sweet and salty foods, inexplicable weight gain around the middle, decreased sex drive, brain fog, all signs of hormone irregularity that get swept under the rug. That leads, when undiagnosed and untreated, to fibroids, cysts, infertility problems. And I can't tell you, more than 80%, maybe more, of hysterectomies performed in this country are unnecessary. They're simply hormone irregularity that have gotten to the point where, see, the standard of care is to either drug it out, cut it out, or burn it out. No one's doing detective work to find out what the problem is to begin with. So hormone irregularity and HRT, hormone replacement therapy, is where it leads to, which leads to breast cancer. But rather than tinker like a chemist with your hormones because they're not regular, how about I know this is crazy, but why don't we do the detective work to find out why they're not balanced and fix that rather than turn you into a chemistry kit?
Thank you. Tell us what are the biggest mistakes entrepreneurs make when trying to live with a type 2 diabetes?
Man, so the biggest problem that an entrepreneur would have having type 2 diabetes is because entrepreneurial people tend to be type AAA personality. Entrepreneurs live, eat, and breathe their business and businesses. So oftentimes they will not make time for their illness. And the adage says, make time for your illness or it will make time for you. And another saying is people sacrifice their health for wealth and then spend their wealth to regain their health. I would warn the entrepreneur to make time for themselves. You are unable to take over the world from your bed.
Thank you. You've already said where you can be found, but is there any other website where people can find you?
There is. You can go to www.realhealthroots.com, realhealthroots.com. Or just go to Real Health Roots on the Facebook page. That's what I would really suggest. If you want to see some smiling faces and not just my own and hear from the horse's mouth, as they say, I've got more than 40 testimonials in there of patients who have reversed their type 2 diabetes. Hear from them. Hear how they have been able to reclaim their lives. See their before and after lab work, because that's empirical data that is indisputable. But you don't have to. You'll be able to feel the genuineness in each one of these people when they tell you that they were frustrated to pieces. They were skeptical that it could be done, that they could do it. Great stories.
Thank you.
Follow me for more interviews with world's most innovative health change makers to live your healthiest life ever.